Good evening, Bill.
Good evening, Otanka. How are you?
I'm fantastic, my friend, fantastic.
Great. What's the weather like over there today?
It's been hot and sunny, but it's also been raining, snowing, and hailing.
Yeah, it's sunny and breezy here. Where are we today? Where are we meeting?
Oh, very nice. We're actually, we're actually in Antarctica at the moment, Bill. As you look over to my right-hand side, you can see some canoes, and there's a ship over there. And as we look round, we can see an igloo and several other bits and pieces. It's a beautiful place, Bill. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it is. We were going to talk about headsets, the VR headsets today.
We were, Bill.
I kind of like to start out with Google Glass, because Google Glass came around before Oculus Rift. It was a grandiose idea that got pooed-pawed by a lot of people, mainly because it was intrusive. It was you could record somebody when they didn't know you were recording them, and so there was some legislation passed in different states, and different businesses outlawed it. You can't wear it there, and it kind of died on the vine. It was a good idea, but it needed some work.
Weren't they a very expensive machine, though, to actually purchase, Bill?
Well, after that, probably got to start with Google Cardboard, which didn't come about before Oculus Rift, but maybe the concept did. That's basically a piece of cardboard with a couple of lenses in it that you can put your Samsung phone or your iPhone or whatever into it, and you can watch Google Cardboard apps, and it's not a bad deal. But they range from about $15 to $30 for the Google Cardboard.
Oh. But it is the first universal headset, though, isn't it? Or one of the first universal headsets at a cheap price.
Well, after that, basically Oculus Rift came out in its beginning for some developers, and then it came out with a DK1, and I got that, and it had some pretty good apps, and then they came out with a DK2, but about the same time they made a partnership with Samsung, and they came out with a Gear VR. And originally, in the Innovator Edition, which you and I both got for our Note 4s, those were $200. But now the consumer version is only $99, and it's a pretty good deal if you have an S6 or an S7 or a Note 5. They seem to work pretty well. I do like the mobile headsets better than I do like the tethered ones, but I think we ought to go on to the tethered ones. The tethered ones being Oculus Rift, the CV1, which takes a very powerful computer to run it and has 2 to 3 cords that you're tethered to the computer. And then they have the Vive, the HTC Vive, which is a little more expensive, but it comes with controllers. And from everything, I've talked to some friends that have it, and they're just amazed. The nice thing about the Vive is you can use it in a small room, and you can stand up and walk around and sword fight and duck and cover and that kind of stuff, which you can't really do with the Oculus Rift. And that's mainly because they didn't want to do that. They didn't want people falling down and hurting themselves, and they didn't want the liability. Where the Vive, they don't seem to worry too much about that. There's an interesting thing going on behind you right now. There's a polar bear coming in behind you. In my field of view, you probably can't see it, but he's coming towards us, and it's kind of spooky looking. Yeah, he's getting fairly close here. Yeah, he's going in. He's past the boats now, and he's going in. If you turn around a little bit, you can probably see him. He's coming in behind the igloo. That's a big guy. I love this Vtime. And
I've got him, Bill.
yeah, there he is. He poked his head up over the top of the igloo. Look at that. It's an amazing animal.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Really is. Look at that. Hopefully he's going to go for a swim and not bother us. Anyway, let's move on to some other headsets. Oh, and there goes a orca. Anyway, there's about 6 to 8 brand new headsets that most people don't know anything about, that are not available yet. Some of them are, some of them aren't. And they're basically takeoffs of, some of them are takeoffs of cardboard, some of them are takeoffs of Oculus Rift. They range in price from about $80 all the way up to $400, $600. The names of those are the Razer OS VR, the FOVE VR. Zeiss makes one for $129. Avgant makes one, but that's about $700. And then Freefly has one for $80. I think that one's more like the cardboard. And then there's Salon Q. LG's got a 360 model, and Homidoo. So if you want to look up any of those, that's some of the ones coming down. I think probably most of them will go by the wayside because Oculus Rift and cardboard and the Vive pretty well are going to corner the market. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you a question, Bill. What do you think is the best headset out there, in your opinion?
Well, as far as mobile, there is no competition. It's the Gear VR. But as far as tethered sets, everything I've seen, and I have an Oculus Rift. Everything I've seen, the Vive looks like it's going to be the #1 high-end gaming headset. You get controllers with it. It's all in one package, and then you have to have an extremely high-powered computer to run it or the Oculus Rift, and your computer's going to run you probably about $1,500, and then another $800 for the Vive and its controllers. And the Rift's going to take the same computer, but the thing I like about the Vive is you can stand up and it has dual sensors, so it maps the room better, and you can actually stand up and walk around and sword fight and, like I said, duck and cover and paint and do some wild things with the Vive. So I think the Vive will eventually, and plus they're tied in with Steam, so all the Steam games are supposed to be able to work with them eventually. So I think that's where we're going is the HTC Vive.
But what about the PlayStation? Because the PlayStation are bringing their own version out for they're obviously their machine, aren't they?
I did forget that one. I'm sorry. PlayStation. That's supposed to be out towards the end of summer, and it's a. I'm not sure whether that one's tethered or not, but it works with the PlayStation 4, and it has a camera that you have to use with it, and the camera and the the unit itself is around $500, but that's the estimated price, and until it actually comes out, we won't know for sure. But that'll play most of the PlayStation games.
But on top of that, you've also got to own the PlayStation as well. So you're looking for the average person about probably about $800, $900.
Yeah, like I say, just the PlayStation headsets, it's $4, and then you have to use a camera, it won't work. So that's another $100.
What is your thought on that? I know it's not particularly a headset, but it is because obviously headset related. What's your views on the HoloLens?
Oh, the HoloLens, yeah, my favorite subject is the HoloLens. This is the newest thing out. It is out for developers right now. It's $3,000. It's self-contained mobile unit, but it does so much more than these others. These others are virtual reality, and then there's some augmented reality out there, those headsets. Meltivo, I think, is another augmented reality. But the HoloLens is a combination of augmented reality, virtual reality, and holograms. And so that's, to me, is going to be the future. Right now it's $3,000. It's not affordable by any means to the average person, but I expect that price to come down. It has a tremendous amount of computing power built into the headset with multiple sensors, far more. It does room mapping. You can use it in a room. You can have holograms of your family members who may be in another location. You set up a room with some cameras in it, and they have a headset, and you have a headset, and you can see them, and you can walk around and touch. Reach out. They can't feel you touching them, but you can. They're a 3D hologram. So that, I think, is where the future is going, and that's by Microsoft. They've come a long way with that unit, and I think everybody's going to be amazed.
Well, to be honest with you, Bill, in my opinion, the HoloLens is going to make the virtual reality world that we're using at the moment quite redundant, because this is where we all want it to go, is that it's all going to be in that augmented reality. That's where we want it to end up. And obviously, Microsoft have bypassed the virtual reality world and have gone straight for augmented reality straight away.
Yeah. We're picking up a lot of static. What we're trying to do here in virtual reality is very difficult for us to film and get the audio right. And we're picking up a little bit of choppiness from the internet. It's Saturday, and it's heavily in use right now. And so the bandwidth's not there. I'm on a satellite. You're on a landline. It's kind of difficult. But I think it might be time for us to say goodbye.
Okay, Bill. Well, before we go, do you have any words of wisdom this week for us?
Yes, I do. And it kind of fits in with where we're at the moment. When you come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on.